Alina Ward stepped onto the loading bay of the star carrier, Resolute Dawn, as quietly as a shadow. The massive ship buzzed with life all around her. Alien voices echoed in different tones, some sharp, some melodic, some so deep they vibrated through the metal floor. Cargo drones floated past like oversized fireflies, and the sharp scent of engine coolant mixed with warm, recycled air. Alina took slow, steady breaths, her eyes lowered, her shoulders tight. No one paid her much attention at first. She looked like she barely belonged in a military ship then, small, and walking with the careful steps of someone trying very hard not to be noticed. A pair of Vornok warriors glanced her way. They were tall, thick-skinned reptilian beings with armor like scales and booming voices. One nudged the other with an elbow. "Is that the new human recruit?" The first asked. "Looks like a supply clerk." The second replied with a laugh. Alina heard them, but she didn't react. She shifted her backpack higher on her shoulder and kept walking. Humans were rare in this region of space, and most alien species had only seen them on screens. Many expected humans to be loud, confident, full of bravado, like the vid stories showed. Alina was the opposite. Her soft brown hair was tied back simply, and her gray uniform looked slightly too big, as if she had chosen the smallest available size and still felt it hung off her. She reached the check-in terminal, where a thin, blue-skinned Ilari officer scanned her ID. "Alina Ward, Earth origin," the officer read aloud. "Assigned to logistics and field support." He looked up at her, confused. "Field support? You seem quite—" Gentle Alina kept her gaze low. "Yes, sir. I am assigned where the captain needs me." The officer shrugged and waved her through. "Follow the corridor to Deck 7. Try not to get lost. This ship is bigger than most small cities." She nodded and moved quietly onward. As she walked deeper into the ship, she listened more than she looked. She counted her breaths, kept her hands steady at her sides, and cataloged every detail: the hum of the engines, the direction of air circulation, the spacing of doors. She always did this when entering new places. It helped her stay calm. What she didn't know was that the ship's AI Hera noticed her the moment she stepped aboard from hidden sensors in the walls. Hera observed the tiny details most biological crew members ignored. Alina's controlled breathing, the way she moved her center of gravity before taking each step, the subtle tension in her fingers, these were signs of discipline, signs of someone trained. But to the rest of the crew, Alina was simply a shy human girl. She finally reached her assigned room, room 714. The door slid open with a soft hiss. Inside was a small bunk, a desk, storage compartments, and a window looking out into the endless stars. Alina set her bag down and sat on the edge of her bunk. She let out a long, slow breath. She had made it. This was her first assignment away from Earth. It was supposed to be peaceful. Mostly support work, and maybe she could finally keep a low profile. That was her plan, at least. But plans rarely survived reality. Her first day was full of small, awkward interactions. During orientation, a group of alien recruits whispered about her. A wide-eyed Solari female stared openly, her soft fur rising in curiosity. "She is so quiet," the Solari whispered. "Humans are strange," her companion said. "Maybe she cannot speak loudly." Alina felt their eyes on her and lowered her head even more. She took the reprints the instructor gave and sat at the back of the room. The instructor, a stern Grillian with a metallic crest, lectured loudly about ship safety, communication rules, and chain of command. Alina listened carefully, taking neat notes. Whenever someone bumped into her by accident, she apologized immediately if it wasn't her fault. When volunteers were requested for demonstrations, she stared at her notebook. Her shyness was so visible that the other recruits formed a picture of her. Within minutes, harmless, timid, and probably fragile, only Hera watched her with a different kind of attention. Later in the day, Alina was assigned to assist with storage inventory, a simple task that required no combat skills, no field work, and no attention from anyone important. Perfect. The storage bay was huge, filled with metal crates stacked along robotic sorting lines. Alina held a small scanner and quietly checked labels one by one. She worked fast, faster than most recruits would have. A group of 3 Vornok entered loudly, their heavy steps shaking the floor. They saw Alina and grinned. "Well, look at this," one said. "The tiny human is doing clerk work." "She looks scared during orientation," another added. "Maybe she should have joined a medical ship instead." Alina kept her eyes on the crate she was scanning. "Excuse me," she said softly, stepping aside to let them pass. The Vornok exchanged glances. Her voice was so small, so calm, that they didn't take her seriously. They walked away laughing. Alina let out another slow breath. She didn't mind their words. She had heard much worse before. She didn't want anyone to fear her or expect anything from her. The quieter she was, the safer she felt. Still, a small part of her heart pinched at the judgment in their voices. She pushed the feeling down and continued working. When her shift ended, she visited the observation deck. Few recruits went there during off hours, and Alina liked the quiet. She stood near the glass wall, staring at the stars. They stretched across the darkness like scattered shards of ice. She felt small, peacefully small. "Crew member, Elena Ward." Hera's calm voice echoed from the ceiling. Elena jumped slightly. "Why, yes. You have not accessed the training schedule for your squad." Elena's heart tightened. Training. Schedule. Yes. All new recruits must participate in joint physical and combat practice tomorrow at 09 Seeger hours. Lena swallowed hard. "Oh, I didn't realize it was mandatory." "It is," Hera replied. Alina turned her gaze back to the stars. "I understand." She had hoped she could avoid combat training, at least for a while. But she knew this day would come. Her hands trembled slightly. She hid them in her pockets. "Is everything all right, crew member?" the AI asked. "Yes. I'm fine," Alina said softly. But she wasn't. She wasn't afraid of fighting. She was afraid of being seen fighting. The next morning came too quickly. Alina woke early, dressed quietly, and walked to the training deck. Her boots echoed faintly on the metallic floor. When she entered the deck, nearly 20 recruits were already there: Vornok, Solari, Ilari, humans, and a few other species. All were in combat gear. Alina wore the same gear, but on her. It looked oversized. The moment she stepped in, several heads turned. She showed up. Someone whispered, "She will probably faint." Another murmured Cray Lor, the largest Vornak warrior on the ship, smirked when he saw her. "Look who finally came out of hiding," he rumbled. Alina felt heat crawl up her neck. She kept her eyes low. The training officer, a tall Ilari named Commander Talion, clapped his hands sharply. "We begin with partner drills," he announced. "Strength does not matter. Technique matters." Most recruits paired quickly. Then Talion looked directly at Alina. "You human. You will partner with Kragler." The entire room went silent. Kragler grinned. With pleasure. Lena's stomach twisted, but she nodded and walked toward him. She looked tiny compared to the towering Vornok. Even Talion raised an eyebrow, as if wondering if he should change his mind. But he didn't. Kragler cracked his knuckles. "Do not worry, little human. I will not break you." Alina forced a small, nervous smile. "Thank you. I think the drill was simple: disarm and counter. Basic techniques." Kragler lunged. First, he expected her to stumble. He expected her to panic. He expected her to freeze. She did none of those things. Her body moved on. Instinct. Quiet. Controlled instinct. She stepped aside just an inch, shifted her weight, and placed her hand exactly where his wrist bent. Her motion was soft. Her technique was perfect. Kragler's entire weight shifted forward. She used it in less than a second. The giant Vornok flipped through the air and landed on his back with a loud thud that made the whole room tremble. Silence. Absolute silence. Alina blinked, surprised by her own speed. "Oh, sorry. Are you hurt?" She offered him a hand. Kragler stared at her in shock. Everyone did. Nobody laughed now, and just like that, the ship that thought she was harmless realized she might be something completely different. Alina lowered her gaze again, avoiding everyone's eyes. She hoped, desperately, that this small moment would be forgotten. But nothing on a star carrier stays quiet for long, especially when it involves the shy human who just tossed a warrior twice her size her. Life on the Resolute Dawn was about to change him. She didn't even know it yet. The day after the unexpected incident with Kragler, the training deck buzzed with whispers. It didn't matter that Alina had slipped out of the room as quickly as she could, hoping to avoid attention. Nothing on the Resolute Dawn stayed secret, and certainly not something as shocking as a shy human flipping a Vornak warrior. By morning, every recruit officer, and even some engineers, had heard the same sentence passing from mouth to mouth. The quiet human took down Kragler. Some added details. Some exaggerated, some refused to believe it. But Alina Ward. She wished everyone would stop talking. She entered the cafeteria with her tray held close to her chest, her eyes down as always. The moment she stepped inside, conversations dipped. Heads turned. Several alien recruits stared openly. A Siluri with soft gray fur whispered to her companion. A metallic-voiced Grillian replied, "Looks can hide sharp teeth. Be careful with humans." Alina tried to ignore the stares. She walked quietly to an empty corner table and sat, hoping the attention would fade. She wasn't used to the spotlight. She didn't want it, but whether she wanted it or not, it had arrived. Kragler stood across the cafeteria, arms crossed over his broad chest. His scales shimmered a deep bronze under the lights. He looked frustrated, confused, and slightly embarrassed. His fellow Vornak warriors nudged him. "You were defeated by her," one teased. "She threw you like you were made of foam," another added. Kragler growled low. It was a moment of surprise. I did not expect her to move like that. "Humans are small," a younger Vornak said, "not strong." Kragler shook his head slowly. Strength was not the issue. She did not overpower me. She redirected me. His companions stared. He continued, "It was a technique. Precise. Clean." "So, you respect her now?" Kragler paused. His pride fought with his honesty. Finally he sighed. "I do not know, but I misjudged her." Gaze shifted toward Alina, who sat eating quietly, unaware she was the center of the discussion. Later that morning, the recruits gathered again on the training deck. This time, the atmosphere was tense. Everyone was waiting to see what the shy human would do today. Commander Talion strode across the room, his blue skin glowing faintly under the lights. "We will work on agility and decision-making drills," he announced. "Everyone will rotate partners." A murmur went through the room. Many secretly hoped they would get paired with Alina just to see if the rumors were true. But Alina hoped for the opposite. She stood at the back of the group, shifting her weight nervously. Talion tapped his datapad. The assignments flashed on the large display. Alina Ward paired with Officer Rylan. Alina looked up slightly. Rylan was an Ilari officer, with long, graceful limbs and wings folded neatly behind his back. He was calm, analytical, and known for being one of the best instructors among the younger officers. His silver eyes studied her quietly as she approached. "You are the human everyone is talking about," he said in a soft voice. Alina blushed. "I wish they wouldn't." Rylan tilted his head. "Why? Do you dislike attention?" I don't know. I just prefer to be quiet." "Then show only what you wish to show," Rylan said gently. "No more, no less." Alina blinked. Most people didn't speak to her that kindly. The drill was simple. Rylan would make fast, unpredictable movements, and Alina had to react without striking back, only dodging. "Ready," nodded timidly. Rylan moved first. Quick, sharp, much faster than Kragler. His wings snapped open for balance as he lunged. Alina moved without thinking. A smooth sidestep, a shift of her shoulder, a twist, just out of reach. She flowed like water around his attacks. Rylan's silver eyes widened, increased speed. Alina kept up. He pushed harder. She dodged again. He jumped, flipped, came at her from above. Alina ducked with perfect timing. The entire room went silent again. Recruits stopped training. They watched the shy girl avoiding an elite officer like she had trained beside him for years. Rylan finally halted, breathing lightly but clearly impressed. "You are interesting," he said. Elena's cheeks heated. "I just practiced a lot on Earth." "A lot," Rylan repeated with a small smile. "And very well." Talion walked over, his expression unreadable. "That was advanced-level reaction training," he said to Elena. "Who trained you?" Elena froze. For a moment, her breath caught. She whispered, "No one important. I just trained quietly." Talion studied her face, clearly not convinced. But he said nothing more. After the drill, recruits broke into small groups. Everyone was buzzing with curiosity now. A group of humans approached her. There were only 4 human recruits on the ship, all from different regions of Earth. "Hey," one of them said, a tall man named Jason. "You didn't tell us you knew martial arts." Elena tucked her hands behind her back. "I don't like fighting. Didn't look like it," another human said with a grin. "I was just trying not to get hit," Lena murmured. Jason chuckled. "Well, good job. You made Rylan look slow." Elena's eyes widened. I didn't mean to." "Relax," Jason said. "He doesn't seem mad. They were trying to be friendly, but the attention still made her anxious." She gave a tiny smile and returned to gathering her equipment. Across the room, the Vornak group watched her closely. Kragler grunted, "Maybe we were wrong about her." "Wrong?" another Vornak asked. "She is still small." "Yes," Kragler said. "But size does not stop her." During sparring rotations, Elena found herself paired with different species. Some underestimated her. Some were cautious. Some simply wanted to test her, a Grillian. Rushed too quickly, she sidestepped and gently pushed him off balance. A Solari tried to swipe low, she hopped lightly over the attack Anne. Solari trainee dove from above, she rolled smoothly to the side. Every movement she made was soft and almost apologetic, but effective. The recruits grew more silent with each demonstration. Talion watched from the corner of the deck, arms folded. He wasn't annoyed, he was thoughtful. "This human," he murmured to himself. "She hides herself on purpose." Hera, the ship's AI, responded inside his earpiece. "Observation confirms this assessment. Elena Ward displays controlled breathing and motion patterns consistent with advanced training." "Why would she conceal it?" Talion asked quietly. "Unknown," Hera replied. Talion nodded slowly. "Then we will keep watching." When training ended for the day, Elena stayed behind to put away the unused practice weapons. She always preferred to help quietly, rather than join the groups chatting near the exit. As she was lifting a training baton, Kragler approached. Elena froze. She turned slowly. "Oh, hello." "Hello." Kragler scratched the back of his scaled head, uncomfortable. "Human, Elena." "Yes." She whispered. "I want to say," searching for words. "You surprised me yesterday." "I didn't mean to," Elena said quickly. "I didn't want to embarrass you." Kragler blinked. "Embarrass me? You saved me from being careless. I underestimated you." Elena stared down at the floor. "Everyone does." Kragler tilted his head. "Why?" She shrugged. "Quiet does not mean weak," Kragler said firmly. Elena offered him a tiny smile. "Thank you." He nodded and walked off, leaving her with a strange warmth in her chest. The Vornak had actually thanked her. That had never happened before. Later, she walked back to her quarters. Elena replayed the day in her mind. She hadn't meant to stand out. She had only tried her best to follow instructions. But no matter. How hard she tried to stay small, her skills kept slipping out. She didn't want people to think she was dangerous. She didn't want them to expect her to fight. But most of all, she didn't want her past to resurface. When she reached her room, she sat on the edge of her bunk and pressed her hands together, breathing slowly to calm herself. "What am I doing?" she whispered to the empty room. She didn't know if she could keep hiding. Inside the walls, Hera observed quietly. The AI didn't speak this time, simply watched, processing every detail. The next morning, things shifted even more. During announcements, Captain Alara strode into the training deck. Her presence commanded silence instantly. Her silver uniform and sharp gaze made every recruit stand straighter. I have heard the reports, the captain said. A recruit has demonstrated unexpected skill. I will be observing today's exercises personally. Dozens of eyes turned toward Alina. Her heart nearly stopped. No, she whispered under her breath. She wasn't ready for this level of attention, but there was no escaping it now. As the captain stepped aside, Tellian pointed to the center of the room. Alina Ward, front and center. Her legs trembled. She walked slowly into the open space. Every recruit watching her, she didn't want to fight. She didn't want to show anything, but she had no choice. And somewhere deep inside the ship, rumors began spreading even faster. The shy human wasn't shy because she was weak. She was shy because she was hiding something. And soon, everyone would know exactly what she had been hiding. The atmosphere aboard the Resolute. Dawn changed in the days after the captain personally observed Elena's training session. It was as if the ship itself hummed with a new kind of energy. Recruits whispered. Officers speculated. Even the engineering teams, who usually cared little about training matters, exchanged curious glances when Alina walked by. The shy human had become the center of attention, and Alina absolutely hated it. She walked through the corridors with her usual soft steps. Eyes lowered, hands clasped in front of her, but no matter how small she tried to seem, crew members still watched her. Some stared openly. Others pretended not to, but their glances followed her. She wanted to disappear, but disappearing was impossible now. During breakfast, Alina sat alone as always. Her tray held simple food, bread, fruit, and a warm drink. She moved slowly, hoping the recruits around her would ignore her. They didn't. Jason, one of the human recruits, walked over with two other humans. "Mind if we sit?" he asked. Alina hesitated. Okay." They sat. Jason smiled kindly, but Alina could feel the curious pressure in the air. "You've become pretty famous," he said. Alina nearly choked on her drink. "Please don't say that." "It's true," another humanist said. "Even Commander Talion has been talking about you." Elena's stomach twisted. "I didn't do anything special." Jason laughed softly. "You flipped up?" Jason leaned forward. "Alina, you know you're good. Really good. You don't have to hide it." Her heart clenched. "I'm not hiding anything." But that was a lie, and she knew it. Jason and Nia exchanged a look, sensing she didn't want to talk further. They changed the subject, chatting about ship life and training schedules. Alina nodded politely, but her mind drifted far away. She wished people would stop being interested in her. Later that day, Alina reported to the logistics center for her regular duties. She loved the quiet of the supply area rows of crates, the soft hum of scanning devices, and the predictable routine. It made her feel normal. Chief Quartermaster Odalin, a round carrion with bright orange eyes, greeted her with a cheerful wave. "Ah, Alina, just in time. Inventory needs updating." Alina smiled softly. "I can do that," Odalin chuckled. "No, you're my fastest worker." Alina felt a small spark of pride. She liked being useful in quiet ways. She scanned crates for almost an hour while humming softly. The rhythm steadied her nerves. For a moment, she almost forgot about the rumors. Almost, because as she reached the far section of the cargo bay, she overheard two alien engineers talking. "She looks so calm," one whispered. "That's the dangerous kind," the other replied. "Silent humans scare me." Alina froze. Her chest tightened. She didn't want to scare anyone. She stepped away quickly, trying to avoid being overheard. But the words stayed with her. Hera, the ship's AI, monitored everything from the hidden sensors lining the corridors. When Alina paused near a crate and leaned against it to steady her breathing, Hera spoke gently through a wall speaker. "Crew member Alina, Ward. Your heart rate is elevated. Are you all right?" Alina flinched slightly. I'm fine, Hera. Just thinking too much. Do you like assistance?" She shook her head. "No, thank you." Hera paused. "May I offer an observation?" Alina blinked. "Okay, you are concerned others are becoming afraid of you." Alina's throat tightened. "I don't want that. You have not harmed anyone," Hera said calmly. "Your actions have only protected yourself during training." "People don't understand that," Alina whispered. Understanding requires knowledge. Perhaps they simply need time. Lena sighed softly. I hope so. Hera did not reply. But the AI stored every detail meanwhile, in the officer's briefing room. A different conversation was happening. Commander Telian stood beside Captain Alara, watching recordings of the last few training sessions. On the screen, Alina moved with soft, precise motions, dodging, redirecting, and flowing like water. Alara folded her arms. She hides her strength well. Talion nodded. Too well. Alara raised an eyebrow. Do you believe she is a threat? No, Talion said firmly. If she wished to harm anyone, she would have chosen far easier moments. She avoids conflict. Then why hide her skill? Talion hesitated. I think she fears attention, or expectations. Lara watched the screen, her sharp eyes narrowing. I want to know her background. Talion nodded. I've already requested her full Earth records. Lara sighed. Earth often hides details in their paperwork. The moment she said that, Hera appeared as a soft glow on the wall panel. Captain, Commander, I have access to restricted file related to Alina Ward. Alara exchanged a look with Talion. Restricted. Talion frowned. But she's only a recruit. Hers voice softened. Alina Ward was part of Earth's Special Psychosocial Engagement Division. Alara stiffened. SPED. That unit specializes in infiltration, defense, and higher-risk negotiation. Looked shocked. They train operatives to remain unnoticed until absolutely necessary. Alara exhaled slowly. So her shyness, her quiet nature, it is partly natural, Hera said, and partly training.
Ali
Shook his head in disbelief. Why would Earth send someone like that here without telling us? Alara's tone grew sharp. We will ask her directly. Lena finished her shift and returned to her quarters, unaware that her past had just been uncovered. She sat on her bunk, rubbing her hands together anxiously. She wanted to sleep. But her thoughts wouldn't calm. There came a sharp knock on her door. Alina jumped. See, come in. She whispered. The door slid open. Captain Alara stepped inside. Alina shot to her feet, stiff with fear. Captain? I didn't do anything wrong. Leah raised a hand. Relax, Recruit Ward. I'm not here to discipline you. Lena swallowed. Oh, okay. Alara stepped closer. I want to speak with you about your background. Lena felt her knees weaken. No, not this. Not now. Alara studied her face. Why didn't you tell us you were part of Earth's Special Psychosocial Engagement Division? Alina froze. She whispered, because I don't want to be in that life anymore. Alara softened slightly. You have impressive skills. Skills that could help others. That's what I'm afraid of, Alina murmured. Alara tilted her head. Why? Alina wrapped her arms around herself. Because when people see I can fight, they expect me to fight all the time. Alara's expression shifted, becoming more understanding. You fear being used? The captain said gently. Alina closed her eyes. Yes. Alara sighed and sat beside her on the bunk. Alina, I won't force you to do anything outside your assigned duties, but I need to know if I can trust you. Alina looked up slowly. You can trust me. I don't want to hurt anyone. Alara nodded. Then keep doing what you're doing. We will not reveal your past to the crew. Alina blinked in shock. You won't? Not unless you wish it. Relief washed over her, so strong her shoulders sagged. Thank you, Captain, she whispered. Alara stood. But understand something. Skills like yours will eventually be needed. This galaxy is dangerous, and your crew may one day depend on you. Alina nodded weakly. I know. Good, Alara said. Rest for now. The captain left. Alina sat in silence, trembling. Her secret wasn't fully exposed. But it was no longer safe either. That evening, as darkness settled across the ship's artificial cycle, recruits gathered in small clusters around the common room. The rumors continued. What is she hiding? Why is the captain watching her? She moves like a trained assassin. No, she's scared of everything. That can't be right. Kragler listened quietly, his arms folded. Finally he growled, Enough. The room went silent. Cragler continued. Alina Ward is strong. And she is kind. That is all you need to know. Some nodded, others didn't. But the rumor fire still spread. Meanwhile, in her small, quiet room, Alina curled under her blanket but sleep refused to come. Her secret was slipping. Her calm life was crumbling, and somewhere deep inside the ship, Hera monitored her heartbeat, her breathing, her trembling hands. The AI whispered softly, though Alina could not hear it, "You are not alone, Alina Ward. Because soon, very soon, the resolute Dawn would face something far worse than rumors, and the shy human everyone misjudged would become the only hope they had." The resolute Dawn floated through deep space like a silver arrow, silent and powerful. For several days, the tension around Alina slowly settled. The rumors didn't stop, but they grew quieter, fading into background whispers. Training continued normally, and Alina tried to return to her quiet routine of inventory work and simple tasks. She almost believed things would go back to normal, but normal never lasted long in the galaxy. The first alarm sounded during the ship's artificial night cycle. A sharp, echoing wail filled the corridors. Red emergency lights painted the halls in harsh color. Alina jerked awake. Heart racing, she jumped out of bed, pulling on her boots with trembling hands. The alarm meant only one thing: major trouble. She rushed into the corridor, joining dozens of recruits already heading toward the briefing deck. Some were half-dressed, some still rubbing sleep from their eyes. But everyone moved quickly. Jason spotted her and waved her over. "Come on, something big is happening." "What kind of big?" Alina whispered. "Not sure, but the alarm level is high, really high." Her stomach tightened. When they reached the briefing room, the door slid open to reveal Captain Alara, Commander Talion, and several officers standing around a glowing holotable. Alara's expression was hard. "Everyone listen," she said. Her voice carried across the room like steel. "We've received a distress call from the mining colony on Draction 4. A holomap flickered to life, showing a rocky, mountainous world. Talion pointed at the surface. A group of heavily armed raiders has attacked the colony. They're using energy-disrupting weapons that block most long-range support." Jason cursed under his breath. "Those are illegal everywhere," Alara nodded. "Which means someone very dangerous is behind this." Lena swallowed. "What happened to the colony?" Alira hesitated, then said, "Half the colony is safe in underground shelters, but a rescue team we sent ahead is trapped near the northern extraction zone. Communications are unstable. We cannot reach them." The room filled with anxious whispers. Talion slammed his hand on the table. "Enough. This is what we trained for," Lara continued. "We're deploying a small strike and rescue team. Because of the disruptors, we need an infiltration unit, quiet, fast, and adaptable. Volunteers will be considered first." Hands shot up. Alina did not raise hers. She stood at the edge of the crowd, trying to make herself small. But her heart thumped. Painfully, she didn't want to fight, but she didn't want people to die either. The captain reviewed the volunteers, but Talion shook his head. "These recruits are too inexperienced. We need someone who can slip past disruptor fields and disable traps without being detected." Alara's gaze slowly shifted across the room. Elena's stomach dropped. "No, please no, Alina Ward," Alara said. Every head turned. Alina froze like a rabbit caught in headlights. "Me," she whispered. Talion nodded firmly. "Your stealth and reaction skills are ideal for this mission. You can get in and out without triggering sensors." But Elena's voice cracked. I'm not a soldier." Alara stepped toward her, speaking gently. "We're not asking you to fight the raider force alone. We're asking you to lead the infiltration plan. You will guide the rescue team and disable the disruptors. Your knowledge can save lives." Elena's hand shook. She wanted to say no. She wanted to run, but she thought of the trapped rescue team people who were scared, injured, and waiting for help. She took a slow, deep breath. "I'll try," she whispered. Alara nodded. "Good. Prepare immediately." The strike ship Silverwing launched within the hour. Alina sat near the front, wearing lightweight armor instead of the heavy combat gear others had chosen. Heavy armor made noise. Heavy armor slowed her. She couldn't afford that. Kragler sat behind her, checking his weapon. "Human Alina," he said. "I will watch your back." Alina offered a small smile. "Thank you." Jason leaned forward. "You good?" Alina nodded, though her heart pounded. "I hope so." Commander Talion stood at the center of the cabin. "Listen carefully," he said. "The raiders have set up perimeter drones and motion traps. The energy disruptors block our tech, so Alina will lead us through the safest path." Blair's voice came over the ship's comms. "Team Silverwing, your priority is rescuing our trapped personnel. Do not engage in unnecessary combat." Ship shuddered as it entered Draction 4's atmosphere. Alina closed her eyes and breathed slowly. Focus. Be small. Be calm. Be. Unseen, the ground trembled as the ship landed in a rocky gorge. Jagged mountains rose around them like stone teeth. The moment the doors opened, cold, dusty wind swept inside. Alina stepped out, scanning the ground carefully. "This way," she said softly. The team followed. Her footsteps were feather-light, her senses sharp. The air carried faint vibration signals from hidden drones. Her ears caught the distant hum of disruptor devices. Every part of her training awakened. She raised a hand. "Stop." The team froze. Alina pointed to what looked like empty ground. "There's a motion sensor. Step around it." Talion checked his scanner. Nothing appeared on the display. He stared at her. "How did you see that?" Alina shrugged. "The dust pattern is wrong." "It's too smooth," Kragler murmured. "Amazing." The team moved on again. Alina signaled them to stop avoiding tripwires, hidden mines, and silent drones. Her movements were soft, precise, almost ghost-like. Even the officers were stunned. She didn't just walk. She flowed, after nearly an hour. They reached a cliffside overlooking the northern extraction zone. Smoke rose from burning equipment. Destroyed vehicles lay scattered like broken toys. In the distance, a group of raiders patrolled aggressively, their armor glowing with stolen energy cores. Talion pointed at a large metal structure. "The rescue team is trapped in that storage facility. We need to get past the guards." Alina crouched low, analyzing the scene. "We can't fight them head-on," she said. "They have shock rifles and disruptor grenades." Jason frowned. "So how do we get past them?" Alina studied the cliffs, and then she saw a narrow path, half hidden by rocks. "There," she whispered, pointing. "If we stay low and move quietly, we can reach the roof of the storage building. The ventilation grate leads inside." Talion nodded. "Lead the way." As the group followed Alina along the narrow path. She moved silently, using her hands for balance. The others struggled but copied her motions. At the end of the path, Alina crouched beside the ventilation grate. She pulled a small tool from her belt and worked quickly. The grate opened without a sound. "You first," Talion whispered. Alina slipped inside. Her body moved with natural grace. She crawled through the vents until she reached the storage room. Below, she peered through the vent, her breath caught. There they were, the missing rescue team, 6 people, tired, bruised, and hiding behind crates. They looked up as she dropped silently from the vent. One gasped. "A girl?" Alina smiled nervously. "I'm here to help." She signaled the rest of her team to follow. Kragler dropped down with a thud, making the trapped crew jump. "It's okay," Alina said quickly. "They're with me." Commander Talion began checking the injured. "We need to leave now," he said. But before they could move, a loud explosion shook the building. A harsh voice shouted from outside. "They're inside. Seal every exit." Raiders. They had been discovered. Alina felt fear claw at her heart, but she took a deep breath. She couldn't be shy now. She couldn't hide now. People needed her. Talion turned to her urgently.
"Alina."
"We need a way out." Alina forced her mind to focus. The raiders were blocking the doors. The windows were barred. The disruptor field was still active. There was only one solution, the roof. She said, "We have to go back up through the vent and cross to the next building. There's a maintenance hatch that leads to a safe tunnel." Jason nodded. "Let's move." But the raiders were already breaching the door. Alina stepped forward. "I'll hold them for a few seconds," she whispered. Talion shook his head. "No, you're not fighting alone." Alina gave him a small, brave smile. "I'm not trying to win. I'm just buying time." The door cracked open. A raider burst through. Alina moved. She grabbed his arm, pivoted, and threw him into the wall. His shock rifle clattered to the ground. Another raider charged. She ducked under the swing, kicked his knee, and spun him into the first attacker. The room echoed with gasps. Even Talion stared. "Alina," he whispered, "you're incredible. Go." She cried. The team scrambled up through the vent, pulling injured crew with them. Kragler looked back. "Alina, come." She backed away from the raiders and jumped into the vent. Just as more enemies flooded the room, the team crawled fast. They burst onto the rooftop. Bullets sizzled behind them. Striking the metal, Alina pointed to a panel. "There, the hatch." Jason pried it open. Everyone dropped inside. Kragler helped Alina down last. The tunnel was dark and narrow, but safe. They ran. Heartbeats thundered. Finally, they reached the extraction point where the Silverwing waited. The team boarded quickly. As the ship lifted into the sky, Alina sank to her knees, trembling. She had done it. She had saved them, but she also knew something had. Changed. The entire crew had. Seen what she could do, and there was no hiding. Anymore, the shy girl was gone. In her place stood someone the whole galaxy would soon whisper about: the quiet human warrior who moved like a shadow. The return to the resolute dawn felt different. The rescue team was safe, the raiders defeated, and the mission completed successfully. Yet the atmosphere around Alina Ward had changed more than anything else on the ship. She sensed it the moment she stepped off the Silverwing. The hangar was full of waiting crew members, and their eyes weren't filled with doubt or judgment anymore. They were filled with respect. Some looked amazed, others relieved, and a few still looked shocked. Even so, all of them stepped aside as Alina walked forward, almost forming a quiet path for her. It made her nervous, and she kept her gaze down, avoiding their eyes. She had never liked attention. She didn't know what to do with it. Jason gently nudged her arm. "Hey, smile a little." "You did good." Alina tried, but the smile came out small and shy. "I just helped." "That's all? That's all?" Kragler rumbled from behind her. "Human Alina, you fought off 10 raiders while guiding injured crew through vents. That is not just helping. That is the act of a warrior." Alina felt her cheeks warm. "I didn't want to hurt anyone." Kragler nodded slowly. "And that is why your strength means more." They walked toward the debriefing room where Captain Alera waited. The captain stood with her hands behind her back, her expression calm and focused. But when Alina entered, Alera's eyes softened. "Welcome back," she said. "I'm glad you're all safe." The entire rescue team stepped aside, letting Alina take the center without even realizing they were doing it. Alera noticed, and her lips twitched into a faint smile. "Commander Talion, report." Talion stepped forward. "Mission successful. All trapped personnel rescued. Raiders were repelled. And Alina Ward is the reason we made it out alive." Alina's eyes widened. I didn't." Talion raised a hand. "This is not an exaggeration. Without her, we would not have reached the trapped team. Without her, we would not have survived the ambush at the storage building. Without her, we would have all been captured, or worse." Jason nodded. "She saved every one of us." Alera looked directly at Alina. "Is that true?" Alina shook her head quickly. "No, I noticed traps. I knew some hand-to-hand techniques. I didn't do everything." Kragler let out a booming laugh. "She is too humble. She fought like a storm in a small body." The room filled with chuckles. Alera's smile grew. "Alina, I reviewed your file again during the mission. You have training most of us were not aware of. You hid it because you didn't want to stand out. But sometimes standing out is what saves others. Elena looked down at her boots. I don't like being watched. We don't want to watch you, Jason said softly. We just want to learn from you. For a long moment, Elena said nothing. She didn't understand why they admired her. She didn't feel strong. She didn't feel brave. She had only done what her heart told her help. People who needed her, Alara stepped closer and placed a gentle hand on Elena's shoulder. I have made a decision. Effective immediately, you are being promoted to Combat Strategy Officer, Elena gasped. What? No? I'm not. That position is for someone confident. Someone who gives speeches. Someone who Alara raised a hand. It is for someone who can see danger before anyone else. Someone who stays calm in chaos. Someone who can guide others through fear. You did all that? Elena felt her heart race again. The idea terrified her. But she also remembered the faces of the trapped rescue team and how they had looked at her with hope. She remembered guiding her team through danger. She remembered the moment she stood between the raiders and her friends. Maybe she could do this. Slowly, she nodded. I'll try my best. That is all we ever ask, Alara said. For the next few days, the ship buzzed with activity. News of the mission spread quickly, traveling through crew chats, mess hall whispers, and even official reports. Everyone wanted to know more about the quiet human shadow, the nickname some aliens had given her. Elena wanted to hide every time she heard it. She walked quickly through hallways, hoping to avoid attention, but aliens stopped her to thank her. A Vornak warrior bowed deeply. You have my respect, Elena Ward. A small insectoid crew member fluttered its wings in admiration. Your bravery saved many lives. Thank you. A group of humans in engineering saluted her. Smiling proudly, Elena mumbled soft replies and hurried away. Jason teased her gently. You know, you're famous now, Elena groaned. Please don't remind me. But he tapped her shoulder. Famous for something good. Something human. HFY moment, you know. Elena blinked. HFY. Humanity? Frick. Yeah. She tilted her head in confusion. That's a real thing? Jason laughed. It is now? Later that week, Captain Alara called Elena to the observation deck. It was quiet there, wide windows showing the endless sea of stars outside. Elena stepped in nervously. You asked for me. Alara gestured to the viewing glass. Come stand with me. Elena walked over slowly. They both watched the stars for a while. Do you know why I brought you here? Alara asked. Elena shook her head. This deck is where I come to think, Alara said. Where I ask myself hard questions. Where I remind myself of my duties. I thought it might help you too, now that you have a leadership role. Captain, I don't know if I can be a leader. Alara turned to face her. You already are. A real leader does not shout. A real leader does not need to show off. A real leader is someone others trust to follow. Lena looked down, fidgeting with her fingers. I'm scared. Alara nodded. Good, you should be. Fear means you understand the weight of responsibility. Lena blinked in surprise. Alara smiled softly. Bravery is not the absence of fear. Bravery is acting even when fear is present. You have shown that more clearly than anyone. Lena slowly lifted her head. Do you really think I can help people? Alara touched her shoulder. You already have. A long silence passed. Then Elena finally whispered, I want to keep helping. Alara nodded. Then you are perfect for this role. Over the next days, Elena trained with different divisions. She practiced reading battlefield maps, analyzing enemy behavior, and planning infiltration routes. Officers were shocked at how quickly she learned. How naturally her instincts guided her, one instructor said. She sees movement before it happens. And another whispered, it's like she can predict danger. Every department wanted her input, but Elena remained quiet, humble, and careful. Even when others bragged about her, she kept her voice soft. She accepted praise with the same shy nod. She hadn't changed on the inside, but others had changed how they saw her. Weeks later, during a ship-wide gathering, Alara made an announcement. Today, we recognize a crew member who showed extraordinary courage, skill, and unity. Someone who represents the best of what humans bring to our galaxy. Alina stood frozen as Alara looked directly at her. Alina Ward. Please come forward, everyone applauded. Alina stepped slowly onto the stage, her legs shaky. Her heart pounded loudly in her ears. She wished she could disappear, but she kept moving. Alira placed a silver badge in her hand. For bravery under fire, for protecting your team, and for guiding others to safety. The applause grew louder. Elena's throat tightened. She whispered, "Thank you." Alara leaned closer and murmured, "Be proud of yourself." "Alina, you earned this." Elena looked out at the crowd. Humans, aliens, officers, engineers, warriors, all smiling, all proud. For the first time, she didn't feel the need to hide. She stood a little straighter, a little braver, a little more confident. Maybe she didn't look like a warrior. Maybe she didn't talk like one, but she knew now that she could protect people, and everyone in the galaxy would soon know too, because whispers were already spreading. Never underestimate the quiet human. And Alina Wardshy, gentle, soft-spoken, Elena stood, tall as the stars shone around her, ready for whatever came next.